and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. We are back with some spoops with our Call of Cthulhu, The Underground. Before we get started, just run through a couple of things. Please check out the links that are coming up in chat. It includes the Discord. There is a channel purely for this campaign. We'd love to hear what you think about it. Also, if you've missed out on any episodes, you can head over to YouTube where there is a playlist for you to catch up, not just on this show, but also all of the others as well. Let's have a look. A huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors who we couldn't do this without, in the form of Hero Forge. You will have seen some of the minis in the load up screen, and you will probably in the break as well. It's very addictive, so I shouldn't be able to. Yeah, it is addictive, but it is wonderful. Please go and do it anyway. Like it's. I've done too many. Also, the wonderful Maychan Press, whose Dark Matter hardback is finally out, and it is amazing. Scrat has stolen it. Otherwise, I would show it off. And he's also stolen our other sponsor stuff, the Deck of Many, that created Humblewood, and also the Moving Magic Spell cards, which are really fab as well. Hashtag getting addiction. Oh dear, this is not going to go down well. Yeah. Otherwise, let's hop around and say hello to everyone. And let's start with that salty ginger. Oh, hi.
I love going first. Hello, darling Alice. I'm back in my normal seat of your victim. I'm Lauren. I'm Not Salty Ginger over on Twitter. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm playing Meg Hawks, who is a psychiatrist and got bitch slapped by a building last time.
You did.
Yeah, I did.
To be fair, I was in your victim's seat, like, what, 2-3 days ago? So
yeah, I liked it. That was good.
It's only fair, yeah. We'll do that again. Yes, you did get bitch slapped by a building. That's what happens when you roll a crit one, everyone. Then we're going to hop down and say hello to the lovely Captain Fakai. Welcome back! It's good to have you back.
Hello! I'm so happy to be back, and I'm really sad that I missed last time. I'm Faye, and I'll be playing Jane Crowley. Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Captain Fakai. What are the other cool things that you've said, Lauren, that I'm missing? I can't think of anything. Okay, that's it. That's me.
We missed you.
Okay, yeah,
I missed you all.
Wonderful, thank you. Then we're going to hop over to the lovely A. Kelly Lane. Oh, hi.
That was me on Monday. I was like, hi, I'm Kelly. I internet sometimes. Okay, bye. Hi, I'm A. Kelly Lane on Twitter, A. Kelly in chat. I'm here Monday nights at 10:30 p.m. EST playing in Shadows of Asterin campaign, which is super, also kind of spoopy, but in like a slightly different way. And then obviously I'm here. I also edit stuff for DM's Guild. Check out Uncaged and something Mackenzie and I did together, who's also a regular on the channel, Knarl's Candy Compendium. Even though the holidays are over, everyone wants sugar year round. So that's me. Wonderful. I've got to eat dinner.
I'm going to eat dinner. I'm still going through Christmas chocolates. So, last but certainly not least, the wonderful Smallish Sam. Oh, hi.
Hi. I'm Sammy. I'm Smallish Sam. I play Dewey. I'm gonna go close my door now, actually.
I live for your introduction, Sammy, every single time. Okay, so last time we left Dr. Jane Crowley on the tube, as it was, thank you, Sphinx, for that donation. You get 5 advantages, Doctor.
Oh my gosh.
So, it's so that you don't get bitch slapped by a building.
I'm going to need them.
Yeah. You are still on the tube, and it's slowly coming into the station as the man who you sort of confronted very abruptly in that hideous tie and that hideous suit has sort of sat back down in his seat. You sort of you can see some of the other people offer their seat to you. There are gaps if you do want to sit down, but you know your station is coming up. You can see the white tiles and the platform just up ahead slowly coming into view.
I think Dr. Crowley at this point, I I stand up, kind of shake myself out of it, trying to pretend that everything that I just saw was probably something bad that I ate for lunch or dinner, but knowing that it's not, and start to walk towards, not like standing right at the door, but starts to move towards the door, just kind of letting everybody know that I'm getting off.
Yeah, you start to move towards the door. You see a few people get up just in front of you, moving towards the door as well. And you can hear the screech of the brakes of the London Underground, the tube, as everything slowly comes to break in front of the platform. You see everyone do that little jolt and sway as they hold on as everything breaks, and everyone stands in front of the door, and you hear that voice, "Please mind the gap," and that as the doors sort of unlock and open, someone on the other side opening them, and people start to pile out.
I follow the crowd.
You follow the crowd and again hear, "Please mind the gap. Welcome back, Jane." And over and over again, "Please mind the gap. Please mind the gap," as if it starts to get caught on a loop on the way through. You step off the tube, and you know you have to just cross the platform to get the last one, which takes you back to your home station. There are loads of people funneling out of this platform. It's rush hour. Some people are pushing and shoving. You can see that man stays awkwardly on the tube as it leaves the station again. Him still on it, sort of almost trying to avoid eye contact with you after the interaction. And people start to queue up for the next underground.
I follow the crowd of people to line up for my next train, but I think kind of furtively I like look down at the tracks, like almost like where the gap would be, except like the train's clearly leaving.
Yeah. You can see that painted yellow line at the edge, which is kind of the yellow line you don't go beyond in the station. Painted in big white letters is "Mind the Gap" on the edge. And you hear it again. "Please mind the gap," as there is from the other end of the tunnel that screeching of brakes, that doo-doof, 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 as it comes down the railway. And as you sort of look down at these tracks, there is a glimpse what looks like a shoe on the tracks, almost like a very ornate heeled shoe with a pointed toe. Instead of laces, there are ribbons in its place. And it almost snaps you out of it as all the lights hit past, as this train comes whizzing past in front of you. As you hear, "Train approaching, please mind the gap." And there are the screeches of the brakes, and the doors sort of latch open, and people start to file on.
Do I recognize those shoes? Or that shoe?
You don't recognize. Roll me a history check, please.
Okay, let's see, how good is my history. Doesn't look like... Is it green or purple?
Green. You don't know whose shoe it is. You don't really get any details on it because the train comes over it almost straight away. But I will say it looked sort of the same size as a child's shoe as the train whizzes over it. And the doors open, people start to file on.
Again, I follow the crowd on, but just before I step into the train, I'm looking again into that gap between the train and the station, just for that one momentary glance as I step on.
You glance down and you see the tracks. You see those stones, all the same sort of color. You can see a tiny peak of that sort of the heel of the shoe. And you hear the, "Please mind the gap. Welcome back, Jane," as you step onto the train. As your feet touch the train, almost exactly, you hear those doors close. But almost exactly as your shoe, heel to toe, lands on the surface, you're in a corridor. You're not on the tube anymore. You're on the hospital floor, the one you work in. White walls, white ceiling. There is a clock ticking very loudly, almost echoing, just above the double doors at one end of the corridor. You can see the other set of double doors, the other side of the corridor. There's a few rooms. Everything is white. Everything smells of disinfectant. You're not on the tube anymore.
I take one kind of tentative step forward, almost as if I were going to, as if I were going to get on the tube. And I look around and I kind of look down at myself, seeing if I'm either in my scrubs or if I'm wearing my street clothes. And then I look back up. Hello?
You look down and you're in your normal clothes, as if you've just stepped on the tube. But you're in a white corridor. And the doors at the end swing open. And that little clack of heels as a nurse walks down the corridor. She has a clipboard in one hand, some papers. The clock above the door you can hear ticking so loudly now.
What time is it?
It seems to be 5 to 2.
Do I recognize this nurse?
This nurse you don't recognize. She doesn't, but then you see so many nurses on a daily basis, you might sort of look at her and think maybe you recognize her. But as she walks past, she looks up at you. She's like, "Good afternoon, Dr. Crowley." And puts her head back down and continues to walk the length of the corridor.
I think she walks and continues to walk towards the corridor where the nurse has come through. Slowly.
So the one she left, the doors
Yes.
she left out of.
Yes.
Okay. You walk towards the doors. They're the typical hospital swing doors. They've got the big windows in them and the red sort of painted line across them, that clock at the top. And you can swing the door open. And you walk through into another corridor. It smells of disinfectant. There's 2 double doors at the other end of the corridor. There's a clock. 10 to 2.
I'm going to turn back around and see if I still see that diminishing figure of the nurse.
You see her go through the doors in the other room. The other end of the corridor.
Nurse.
She sort of disappears, closing the door behind her.
I'm going to actually speed up and follow her. So I walked one way, I'm turning back around, walking the other way.
Okay.
And I'm kind of calling after her. Nurse.
You sort of open the door to call after her. And as you do, the double set of doors behind you, the new ones, open. And a nurse walks in, those shoes clacking, those heels. Same nurse. "Good afternoon, Dr. Crowley." Clipboard in hand, papers in other. That ticking gets louder.
This is like the same. So like I followed one nurse out the door. The other nurse comes in the other way.
It's the same nurse.
Oh. I'm going to ask her, Nurse, what day is it? I seem to have misplaced my watch.
It's September 12th, Thursday.
And what day was it when I left the hospital?
This is when I can't remember now. Hang on. I think it was the
It was the 21st.
21st
of September.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna follow her this time closely.
Mm-hmm. You follow her. She even holds the door for you.
And I follow her through to the next room.
You walk through, and you head through the next corridor. Same double doors. You walk into a corridor, plain white corridor. Clock at the top at the end. Double swing doors. As she starts to walk you down this corridor, you can hear her heels almost echo. And at the other end of the corridor, these double doors, same nurse walks through.
Am I able to reach the clock?
You can't reach the clock from where you're standing. It's definitely above the doors. But this other nurse coming in the other direction, you're still following the other one. Good afternoon, Dr. Crowley.
I turn back to the other nurse. Who's still there?
There is a nurse there. You can't see her face right now.
I put my hand on her shoulder and turn her around.
You turn her round and stand face to face with yourself. Good afternoon, Dr. Crowley. Are you here as a specialist?
What's happening?
Nothing's happening. This ward's always here.
What's happening?
Are you okay, Dr. Crowley?
I think at this point she'd probably back away a little bit. Kind of just a little shaken, looking at herself. And she will probably turn around, close her eyes, kind of try to center herself a little bit and turn back around and see if she's seeing what she actually thinks she's seeing.
You turn around and the nurses are both gone. At the end of the corridor is another double set of doors. The clock now says 4:45. And there is not just the red bar, there is a sign labeling the ward. The burn ward.
The burn ward? I think she's kind of confused, and at this point I'm going to pick up my pace and open the door again.
Okay. You step through this door, and there is a feeling of change here. The paint is peeling slightly. It doesn't quite smell right. It doesn't smell like the disinfectant you're used to. It smells clean, so it smells like a hospital, but there's almost a memory jogging smell here. As if maybe you've been here before, but a long time ago. And at the other end of the corridor is a double door with 2 windows. And could you roll me a spot hidden check, please?
All right. And if I want to use advantage, I have to say before I roll, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right, then I will use one of my advantages here.
Go for it.
And my second roll.
Okay. You see one thing
Oh my
as
gosh.
you look towards this door. In the window, it fogs up because there's someone on the other side breathing on it.
All right. Faye would pee her pants, but Dr. Crowley is made of sterner stuff, so she is going to kind of very hesitantly walk up and put her hand right onto the window and kind of touch it with her fingertips.
You can see where it's fogged up, and a black leather gloved hand presses back on the glass.
Oh gosh. And is this a window or are these doors?
These are doors, but with those big square
with the
glass
windows.
windows in them.
And do they pull open towards me or push open?
They're swing doors.
Both. With her other hand, she very quickly opens the other door to look at the other side. Who's there?
You push the door open. There's no one there. However, at the other end of the corridor, there is. A figure stands. You... I don't know what just spooked Sammy. That made me laugh. You stand in this hall that has... The lights overhead are flickering slightly. There is a figure stood at the other end of this new corridor you've walked into. And they have their back to you. Long, grey, heavy woolen coat on. A hat. One black gloved hand. Heavy boots. You can see what looks like mud being traipsed through this corridor. And you hear a voice as it's saying something over and over again.
Can I hear it now, or do I need to walk closer?
You'd probably have to walk closer, but I'll let you make a listen check to see how close you get when you can hear it.
Sure. All right. Am I good at anything today? All right. No, not good at anything today.
You have to get pretty close. You don't have to be like in arm's reach or anything like that. But you're very aware of listening to your own footsteps echo in your ears as you walk down this corridor. You hear the doof, doof, doof as the lights are trying to power up properly.
And can I tell from the back, is this a woman or a man?
This is definitely a man.
Okay.
Very tall, very broad, stands very upright. You look down at one of his hands and one of them is completely wrapped in bandages. And the other, that black gloved hand. And you can hear him muttering under his breath, "Es ist heißt, es ist heißt." And you recognize German when you hear it. But it's just on a loop. Over and over again, and it starts, "Es ist heißt, es ist heißt," as it's breaking up a little bit.
Sir, can I help you?
As you call out to him, he stops talking. And he slowly starts to turn around. His face is completely bandaged. No eyes, no nose, no mouth, no nothing. As he turns round, you hear a very hoarse breathing, as he turns around to look at you. And I need you to make a sanity check for me, please.
All right, I'm going to use another advantage because I seem to be horrible with my rolls right now. All right, sanity. Oh, here we go. All right, so that's one, and that's another one.
Well, you only get a fail.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So
rolling
you lose
horribly.
4 sanity.
It's really unfortunate.
This bandaged face leans in closer and closer to yours, and you can feel this very hot, husky breath on your face. And as you do, you hear a sound as a doctor you're familiar with, as his head snaps to the side, the sound of a bone breaking. And then his arms and shoulders start to snap and move, his legs. As he starts to warp in front of you, his arms come up and they bend the wrong way. Head starts turning even more to the side than it should. And very slowly, he starts to get down onto all fours.
I start to back up, first slowly, then very quickly.
Do you turn your back or do you back up?
I think it's very much she is unable to look away. So it's a definitely like a backpedaling, and she's gonna run into whatever she's gonna run into, but she can't turn around and take her eyes off of this thing that's in front of her.
You see this body, in this very much a military uniform. Those words, those German words start picking up again, that heavy breathing. Arms start to disjoint as well as the legs and the back, as it almost creates a very animalistic-like shape. And for a moment there is a pause, and you both stop as his head snaps up and looks directly at you before it starts to crawl fast towards you, as it starts moving along the corridors, and you can see it scurrying. You almost hear it's a mixture of a marching feet and also almost like a scurry, as if like it was nails on the floor running towards you.
I book it. Now I turn around and I run.
I'm gonna need you to roll. Let's have a look.
Does it matter?
It does. Roll me a dex, please, or a power. I'll let you roll either.
I'll roll a power and I'll use another advantage, but this has been really horrible, these dice. Oh, did I roll a second time?
Yes, you did it.
Oh, I did.
You did it.
Yay!
You did it.
Yes! Oh my gosh! Finally!
Extreme. Describe to me how you turn and run.
Oh gosh. So I'm going to turn around, and I think to distract it, I'm going to throw my bag at it at the same time. So throwing the bag and turning, looking back just once before I run back through the double doors. So Dr. Crowley is pretty tall. She's not super athletic, but she can run.
Thank you, Falcon Venom. Another gift sub to play.
Thank you. I'm gonna need them.
You start to run. You can hear your footsteps and your heart pumping in your ears as you run, as this thing scurries along the corridor. In that brief moment you look back, you realize it's not on the floor anymore. It is up on the ceiling and working its way towards you through the double set of doors as it scurries across the ceiling. Those words over and over and over again as you sprint and you go through the first set of doors. You throw them open as you go tearing through. You see that nurse. Good afternoon, Dr. Crowley. As you keep running, this thing just scurries across the roof. Nurse doesn't pay any attention, opens the next door and walks through. As you come through all of these corridors, they seem to be very repetitive until you see more of these doors on either side, and you come up to what looks like a surgery room at the end. The red light isn't on. There is no surgery in progress, but you can burst through those doors. And you are in a dead end.
There's scalpels in that room.
There are scalpels. There's an operation table. You can see the huge lights that sort of hang over the ceiling. There's nothing going on in here. You can also see a lot of glass jars. You can see a lot of, the medical equipment around you. You know the things that are going on around here. And this thing starts to scurry as the door swings shut, and it crouches down low behind the glass door.
I slam my hand against the lights so that the lights come on, before immediately looking for the biggest. It's an orthopedic hospital, isn't it? So looking for the biggest retractor that I can find, the biggest hammer. How about that?
You can absolutely find something like that. You sort of, your hands are shaking as you sort of like try and grip at your hands, feel very, very sweaty as this bandaged face presses itself up against the glass, and you see that as it fogs up again. And these doors have handles, as it's the surgery, and you see that look down, and you see the handles start to move.
I am going to be, so if this is the operating room table between myself and the door, I'm standing on the other side of the operating room table, and I'm wielding, say, a bone saw or like a bone hammer. Big hammer, something really large.
Okay. You see the door open, and this figure stands upright again, walks very steadily into the room, doesn't seem to be looking at you.
I'm going to hold the hammer out and kind of brandish it a little bit. Don't come any closer.
And it opens its pocket. The side pulls aside its coat and reaches in with a glove and pulls out a piece of paper and places it on the surgery table in front of you. It's an old school photo. As you see this black gloved hand move its finger from faces you recognize. Allison just scared Sammy again. As he moves the finger from your childhood friends, Meg, Dewey, Fran, and the older boy, Fran's older brother, Jason.
Is the hand going to move away from the picture?
He doesn't take a step back, but he definitely lets go.
I'm going to wait a moment and make sure that it doesn't reach forward. And I'm going to slowly move forward. Still, one hand still holding the hammer, as if like I'm going to smash your fingers in if you try to come close to me, and I'm going to pick up the picture. Very quick.
You can snatch it up easily. And you look at it, and it is an old school picture.
How did you get this?
The bandaged face looks in your direction. And you see it start to stretch, as if the mouth beneath the bandages are opening. And as you do, a very familiar sound comes out. Air raid siren. As it starts to fill your ears. Absolutely, become almost deafening.
And I grip the hammer in both my hands, and in a very undoctor-like fashion, I smash it into his face.
Roll a. Let's have a look. Roll a
I'm a really
brawl.
poor fighter here.
Hold on, I can't find it now. Where is it?
Fighting brawl.
It is brawl. Why can't I
Mhm.
find brawl? Oh, it's under fighting. That's why. Yeah, I'm looking under brawl.
All right. Fighting brawl check.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use that advantage because
for
I'm
it.
very bad at fighting here.
Okay.
All right.
Describe how you're doing it as you're swinging this into his face effectively.
So while Dr. Crowley has no training in fighting, she has very much training in orthopedic surgery and hammering in knees and replacing hips and the like. And so in very much the same trained fashion, with a very hard flick of the wrist with her shoulders, she swings it almost like a baseball bat and just cracks it right across his face, right into the side of where the jaw would be.
You strike it, and as you do, that sound stops. You see where this lower jaw was just move. Still within the bandages, it just moves. And the figure freezes. And reaches up with its hand and just snaps back into place, adjusts it for a moment. And there's a moment where you see that leather gloved hands start to reach out towards you. And in that moment of blinking, you're back on the tube. You're sat in a seat. Please mind the gap. As the next set of doors open to your home station.
She runs. She gets up and she pushes people out of the way. There's something weird on the train station, in the train stations today, and she runs out of the underground.
You sprint. You sprint up those steps. You run out of the platform, up into the fresh London air. And you run out. You don't cross the road, but there is a beep of a horn as it looks at the double-decker bus driver thinks you're going to run out into the road, and it sort of brings you back round and wakes you up. You see all the lights flashing, lots of people looking at you slightly oddly, and clasped in your hand is the school photograph.
I stuff it into my pocket. And I walk the rest of the way home.
Okay. And Meg, Dewey, and Fran. You're currently in Meg's apartment still. Meg has just called in sick. Otherwise, what are you doing as you've also touched this school photo?
Were we still on the phone?
We called Jason.
Yeah, you called Jason.
Did he say he was going to come visit? I can't remember.
I think that was the intent, and he asked us why there was some noise. It was terrifying, and I didn't write it down.
You heard breathing at the other end of the phone.
Yes.
But he didn't.
Yes.
That he didn't hear.
All right. Where does your brother live again, Fran?
Believe I said he lives in Bristol. So he'd have to take the train to visit.
Oh, who else?
You can still be on the phone with Jason if you want to.
Yes, maybe
Yeah.
cover. Yes, I'll have covered it. Jason, what's the soonest you could get to London? I assume I take the phone.
That's
Hi, it's Meg.
He's like, Meg? Oh my god, Meg,
Yeah.
it's been years. How
Yeah,
are you?
how's it? I'm great. How are you? How are things? Things good?
Yeah. No. I'm good. I'm living in Bristol now, though. I think
Just
I just said that.
for work? By yourself?
Yes.
Mm.
I have a dog. Does that count?
Yes, of course dogs count.
Okay. I'm just
Right. So I need you to go down to the train station and come over.
Is my sister and Dewey there?
Yes, what how else would I be on the phone?
Well, why are you all together?
We're having a reunion party.
Right.
Some weird stuff has been happening and it just brought up a lot of memories and we all want to discuss it.
Wait, what kind of weird stuff?
Well, I think you know by the tone in your voice. Has someone been following you, Jason?
Not following me, no, but and there's a quiet moment. Look, I'm pretty sure my therapist thinks I'm crazy, but I'm hearing voices over the radio.
Okay, come over. I am going to tell you my address and you're going to leave your... Is it a home, a flat?
Can I bring my
Just
dog?
curious.
I can get someone to look after my dog. It's
Yeah,
fine.
get someone to look after your dog.
He's quite a big dog. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What line of work are you in? Just like while we're on the phone.
Again, there's a moment. He's like, I run a factory.
What kind of factory?
I build cars.
Okay. All right, I'll see you in a few.
Yeah, I just need to make some work arrangements and I'll get on the next train. I should be with you. And you can hear as he sort of taps the glass on his watch. Damn, just stopped. Why is it stopped? And you can hear a moment. He's like, this damn thing keeps stopping. I can be there in the next 6 hours.
Your watch keeps stopping?
Yeah, I keep changing the batteries. It's nothing. I probably just need a new one.
Does it keep stopping at the same time?
Is it? Well, yeah, I keep winding it back and a few minutes later it stops.
At what time, Jason?
5 to 2. Why does that matter? Look, I need to go and get some stuff packed, and I'll be there.
No, I know. Okay.
Tell Fran I'm. Actually, don't tell Fran anything. I'm just gonna get on a train.
Yeah.
Okay, get down. And you can hear him as he's sort of talking to this dog, as seems to be sort of you can hear a dog barking very loudly. It sounds like a big dog.
That's good too. Okay. I hang up.
Okay.
All right,
Meanwhile, Fran has just been sitting back, like stirring more milk into her tea.
Well, he's coming. Oh, you know who else we should call? We should call Jane.
I'd assumed you'd called her when you called us.
No. I had to make another call, so it kind of got in the way. But I'll do it right
What's
now.
the other call to?
No one you know.
There's no insight check.
It's called psychology. Go on, Sammy.
Can I psychology check her?
I mean, if you really want to.
With advantage.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, which one do I press?
The green one.
The green one.
Thank you. I'm gonna ask this
No.
every single week.
No.
Oh, I was so close.
Yeah, you see nothing.
Oh.
Okay.
What do we do in the meantime? So are you gonna call Jane?
Oh, right, yeah. And she opens her book and again flips all the way to the back. And anybody looking could see everybody's numbers written down already. Not recently, either. And I'm going to ring up Jane.
And Jane, it's the next morning. You didn't sleep well. Not because of anything that happened. It was just because of what happened. And it's not...
I'm sleeping with my bone saw.
Yeah. Sleeping with the bone saw. And how are you in bed when the phone rings? Are you in the kitchen?
What time is this around?
It's sort of like mid-morning, 8, 9.
Oh no, Jane gets up at like 6 in the morning. So she's in the kitchen. She's probably reading the paper, drinking some coffee or tea.
You hear your phone ring.
I think she jumps. She hasn't taken what she's seen very well, but she jumps and she lets it ring again before she realizes what's happening, before she picks it up. Hello?
Is this Jane Crowley?
Yes, is this Meg?
Yeah, oh, good. Yeah, no, it is. Hi.
Hello, I think I had a strange dream about you and Fran and Dewey.
Was it a fun one? She asks with no mirth in her voice.
No. Not what I would describe as fun. How are you? It's been a while.
Pretty shit, actually. Are you free this morning?
She looks down at her watch to see what time it is. My
8.
watch is okay. All right. I was gonna say if
Your
my
watch
watch
is
is
fine.
frozen. All right. Yeah. Actually, I haven't got any shifts in the hospital. Where do you want to meet up?
Let's start at my flat. I give her the address. And do you have anything for hangovers? Like anything strong?
She kind of looks over at her kitchen and she probably has like a nice large bottle of like whiskey or something. Yeah, I suppose I could bring that. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, be there in half an hour. I'll take a cab.
Good idea. Stay out of the underground.
Why do you say that?
You know why. Click.
I look at the phone for a second, and I think something occurs to me, and I reach into the pocket of my coat to see if that picture is still there.
It's still there.
Okay, all right. I throw on my clothes and walk out the door and hail a cab.
You hail a cab. They're everywhere, these black cabs, these taxis, as they come down the street. The door opens. A man in almost like a tartan flat cap. He's got a knitted, looks to be like waistcoat on, a knitted jumper underneath. And he sort of leans out, he's like, "You all right, love? Where am I taking you?"
Good morning. Right here, this address. And I show him the address that I wrote down.
Yeah, he just takes the paper. He's like, "All right, in you pop."
I sit in the back and make sure that he's not wearing any black gloves.
There are no black gloves. And you feel the car sort of rumble into life as he starts to drive you down the street and through London. So where you headed? Friend's house?
Yeah, actually, an old friend's house. Haven't seen her in a while.
Like a little reunion.
I suppose. Yes, if you want to call it that, yes.
Sounds like fun.
Uh, sure.
And you know, British cabbies are very talkative people, often too much so in general. But you see his hands sort of tighten a little bit on the wheel as he continues to drive through London. You drive past the Thames, you drive past Parliament, and you keep going. So, what line of work are you in?
I'm a doctor, actually. Orthopedics.
Oh, you're real clever, like.
Not really, no. I just work with bones. Bones.
But you're a doctor, ain't you?
Yes, I suppose.
Well, that means you're smart.
Sure. I really don't want to talk to this cabbie.
Yeah, he's not getting the hint. And he's like, he sort of sits there and he's like, hang on, do you mind if I turn on the radio?
I'd rather you didn't, but sure.
I don't have to.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Go ahead.
All right. And he sort of leans over, and this isn't like one attached to this. This is literally one in the car that he's flicked on. It's on the front seat, and you can hear David Bowie come on, sort of almost crackly coming through the radio, and he's tapping the top of the steering wheel as you go. And he sort of hums to himself a little bit. And after a while, you notice he's humming a different song to the one that's playing.
What is he humming?
It's a song you don't recognize it, but it's an old war song that you used to hear soldiers sing.
So what's the name of that song that you're singing?
And he doesn't seem to hear you.
Sir? I didn't catch your name before. What's your name?
And he turns around and goes, sorry, were you saying something, love?
The song you were singing. What's it called?
We'll meet again. You know, don't know when, don't know. And he starts to like sing it almost at the top of his voice.
Just haven't heard that song in a while.
Really? It's classic.
You know, why don't we turn the radio a little bit louder?
I can do that. And his eyes sort of linger on you longer than the road briefly as he turns the knob of the radio. And the same song he's humming comes on. See? Classic. Don't like all this new stuff. Swinging 60s and stuff, they're calling it. It's not like the proper music.
Yeah, I don't. How far are we from that address?
Do you like proper music?
Sure. How far are we?
About 10 minutes.
Listen, I don't quite like this song very much. Can we switch the station?
And he looks a bit disgruntled, but he starts trying to play around with the radio, and you hear that crackling as things don't quite come through. You can hear the BBC News.
This is great. This is great. I'm in the hospital a lot. I don't hear the news very often, so I really should catch up. Thanks.
He nods slowly. You can hear him continue to hum the song, a lot quieter than before. And you drive for about 7 or 8 minutes. You're only 2 minutes away. You can see him crossing over the bridge, heading towards this enormous, pretty brand new block of flats. Down one of the side roads towards it, you can see him checking the address quickly, sort of looking around. And he sort of comes to a full break. I think this is it. This should be it.
All right. Thank you. How much is it?
And he smiles. And then he starts to sing the song. Don't know when. He was like, "We'll meet again." And his voice crackles, and it's almost like his voice has been coming through the radio
Oh gosh.
the entire time. As he holds out the address to you.
I leave it in his hand and I open the door, throw some change in, how much I think is appropriate. I don't know, like £5. I don't know how much 1960s money is.
He calls after you as you sprint up. He's like, "We'll meet again."
Slam the door shut, go and ring on the doorbell of the address.
Meg, you get a frantic buzzer coming through.
Hello.
While
It's
she was-
Jane.
Before while Jane was on her way over, Fran, when Meg hung up the phone, Fran was just like, "You haven't changed a bit."
What are you talking about? I changed so much.
I always remember the sassy older girl from down the street.
I do remember calling your brother a dick.
Buzzer.
Oh,
Buzzer.
I let her up.
I think Jane very quickly runs up the stairs and knocks on the door.
Take my time.
You run all the way up those, like, it's almost like a marble type stairs. It's a very simple all the way up. Posh. Like, don't walk on there with like wet shoes because you'll slide all the way down kind of stairs. And you can get to the door, and I'm assuming you're drumming on this door.
Yeah. Just
And Meg, are you sauntering?
Yep,
You may saunter.
I do. And I open the door.
Meg, it's good to see you.
Is it? Come on in.
Thank you. Do you have some glasses? I've got the whiskey. And I really need a drink.
Yes. Perfect.
Oh, you've got others here with you.
Oh, right. I guess I didn't say.
And you'll notice that we're both actually pretty disheveled, and I believe in our pajamas.
Yep.
Oh, Fran, Dewey, it's good to see you. Do you live here too?
Oh,
Hell
no.
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 It looked like quite a small flat from outside, but you don't
Well,
live here.
It's not. It's actually rather large for the area.
I just meant it didn't look like, 3 people lived here. But whiskey?
Whiskey. Yes.
It's like 9 a.m., but yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hangover.
I think this is very unlike Jane, but she kind of goes over and like opens the cupboard without asking like where anything is, just because she thinks that's where the glasses are, and takes out like mugs, that you normally use for tea, like puts like 4 of them down, and then like very shakily, like you hear like the ting 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 as she like pours whiskey out, 4 kind of very heavy shots.
Fran takes the tea that she's drinking and fills up the mug the rest of the way with tea.
And then I think she kind of unceremoniously kind of sits down, takes a shot, just like throws it back, like 2 shots in her mug, and says, "Have you seen this photo? Do you remember this?" And she pulls it out of her coat.
It seems like you've had the same kind of day that we've been having.
Yes. Well, it was yesterday. I was on the tube. I was in the underground, and strange things were happening. What happened to you?
Followed by a bandaged man.
Yes, I do remember him. I hit him in the face with a hammer.
Well,
that's better than we did.
No, it's different than what we did because we have his glove.
Well, that's what you did. When I say we, I mean me and Dewey. We ran.
We got out of there because we're brave.
He was only wearing one black glove.
Ha!
What?
I got the other
You
one.
showed him.
The black glove is still sitting on the table.
Didn't we put it in like a corner or something?
Yeah, we like put it in like the.
You want to look at it, so you placed it on like the drinks trolley over in the corner.
Oh god.
So maybe we can track him or something.
I don't think he's real. Or at least not in the sense that we're real.
I mean, you made contact with his face, didn't you?
Yes, but then he put it back. Like if I hit you in the face with a hammer, you'd be dead. But he wasn't.
We also had the television in our flat, Dewey and mine.
The BBC girl came out and was creepy, and I don't like it.
Dewey, slow down. The BBC girl came out of your TV.
The little lawn number from
with the clown toy. The test card girl.
The test card girl. We all know what that is because we're all very British.
Very, very British.
I was 6 when they stopped doing it, so technically
we're all British.
And then she was in our flat, and then she wasn't. But the TV, I unplugged the TV, and it still was on, which seems rather surprising. I didn't think that technology had advanced quite like that, but I didn't think it had a battery.
It doesn't. Is this the same? Is this the same photograph that I saw in my vision?
It is.
I keep hearing this song on the radio. Have you been hearing the song too?
Huh?
It's called "We'll Meet Again."
Yeah, Very Lynn.
My cabbie was also singing the song.
But we've heard it before. I think. I don't really remember much.
It's all kind of a blur in running away and nightgowns and alcohol.
Headaches.
So, what do you propose we do now? We can't just stay here in our pajamas.
Why not?
Well, what if the BBC girl comes out of your TV too?
We need to throw the TV out the window.
You're not first of all, this is my television and you're not throwing my telly out the window. It was very expensive. Well, if she comes out, you can, do you have the bone saw on you?
No, I just slept with it, but, people frown upon women bringing bone saws with them into the cab.
Don't you have a bag?
Yes, but it's not big enough to hide a bone saw, and plus I had to put this giant tumbler of whiskey in there, haven't I?
Priorities.
Argue with that.
I mean that's a fairly big bottle. You could probably smack somebody upside the head with that too.
That's true.
Is it like a glass whiskey bottle, or is it like a cheap plastic whiskey bottle?
Oh no, it's good whiskey. It's
Okay, so
it's
definitely
fancy
glass.
Jane Crowley whiskey.
So it's
There are
definitely
no
heavy
plastic
glass.
bottles.
Yeah, no plastic bottles. It's definitely heavy glass. With
Yeah,
like
that's
one
an
of those
important
like
question.
cork stopper things, the one that like pop off and is also glass.
Nice.
And as we're talking, she pours herself another mug full of whiskey.
Well, we called Jason.
Jason, oh, Fran,
Bailey.
your brother. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What? How's he doing? Where is he?
He's in Bristol. He runs a factory. He makes cars. He's got a dog.
Nice, yes.
Anyway, so the reason we called him is because, he was with us back in the day. Just a little school reunion.
Yes. Some things at least trying to get us together.
Well, when you say it like that, that makes me wonder
Yes,
if we should have done this to begin with. We should probably
Right,
all go home.
I mean, do you really want to go home with the BBC test card girl in your living
Oh,
room?
not at the moment.
We can throw our TV out the window. I own that TV.
Well,
Right,
if
so
your
you better
telly's
be
working
like
with
that.
if your telly's working without being plugged in, don't you think that it would still work if you threw it out the window?
Jane makes an astute point.
Yeah, but if I threw it out the window, then it wouldn't be in my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
The real goal.
I do think we will probably be donating our television to someone.
Well, how are we going to kill time?
Well, I mean, we have some facts. We know a description of this person following us. We know that it has something to do with the underground. We've got the experiences of our childhood. My first instinct is to go to the library.
I
and
agree.
look
I think we should do some research.
On what?
Well, we were all in that terrible incident when we were kids. We could go look at the papers about what happened that day. The bombings in London when you got hit.
Right. I don't
Oh, Jane, I didn't
particularly...
think you were there.
I don't think I was, no.
No.
But we could visit the site, and to be honest, I haven't had any issues with televisions or radios. It's all been when I've been in the underground, and so I actually propose that we go back to the underground and see if anything happens to all of us.
I'm sorry. What? You want us to revisit the place of trauma?
Don't the psychiatrists recommend that? Exposure therapy or something or the other?
Yes, some of them do. The quacks.
Well, listen, I'm in orthopedics. We just do bones. Bones, not really any of this mental hogwash that you seem to be doing.
Okay.
Shots fired. Fran and Dewey are just sipping their like whiskey in the back.
Their
Like,
whiskey tea.
Sipping their tea. Meg drinks more.
So does Jane.
It's
Do
been
they
a long
like-
time since you saw each other.
I think we're probably like 4 shots in by now.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Do you guys just like stare at each other while we drink?
Yeah.
Too, that whole like.
Yeah.
Like placid smiles.
Mm-hmm.
and Fran and Dewey are just like, yikes.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we just don't have enough information, and I don't want us to go wandering. I mean, when he was following, he followed us to meet Meg, this person.
Where did you see him?
just on the street, on the sidewalk. And I heard boots, lots of boots, like there were more than just one of him, or like, I don't know. That's when we just turned and ran.
And what time was it when this fellow followed you?
It was evening. I think we met Meg at 9 p.m., I think. So it's a half an hour walk.
Is it 4:45 by any chance?
No.
No, it was later than that.
Yeah, because we left work.
Something strange did happen at around 4:45 at my office.
What was that?
Just thought I saw someone out the window and there was a phone call.
Well, as much as
someone came in and mentioned the underground, though. Thought someone was following him.
Is this someone reliable? Is this something? Should we compare notes with him too?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's even at the clinic anymore.
He's one of your patients.
Yes. Just kind of typical paranoia.
So I think we've got two options. One is to go to the underground and the other is to go to the library.
I like the library.
And I also vote the library.
So we're going to the library because nobody's gonna go to the underground.
I don't
Dewey,
think...
would you like to go to the underground?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I don't think you don't jump off a cliff until you know the depth of the water below.
Oh, what if you don't have time to check?
Then you probably shouldn't be jumping off the cliff in the first place.
What if you have no other choice, Fran?
Then best of luck to you, and hopefully you don't need to see Dr. Crowley here.
Listen, Fran, how long before Jason gets here? How long do we have?
5.5 hours or so at minimum.
Oh,
I'm assuming he can catch the train. I mean, that's if he immediately got on the train. The second he said 6 hours or so when we talked to him right before you left home. So
then I think we have a good long while to get to the library and to find something. Dewey, what decimal number do you think we would find all of this under? Sorry, I had to do it once.
I don't understand why you're asking me this.
Right, because Fran's actually the librarian.
I ask her when I go in the library.
I just had to say Dewey decimal all together.
We should unpack that at some point, Dewey. All right, we're going to the library.
All right, to the library.
We are not taking the subway.
We'll take a cab.
Sure.
Who's gonna pay for the cab?
I'll pay for the cab.
Pay for the
fine.
cab. No, I got it.
All right.
Meg. No, Fran, don't offer.
No. Dewey, I'd like to not go to work in my nightie. Meg, could I borrow some clothes?
Oh. Certainly.
Montage. Okay, what are you dressing Fran in?
Holy.
What are Meg's clothes like? What sort of wardrobe
like,
does she have?
Like tight. Like, like a tight patterned,
Like the loud
wardrobe.
pattern colourful dresses, the sort of the A-line.
But less colorful and more like graphic, like lots of blacks and whites with like an accent color or something.
Nice.
So, Google's not being helpful right now. Let's just put her in like something black and white. Nice
and
dress.
red all over.
No.
Meanwhile, Fran's usual wardrobe consists entirely of very soft, fluffy sweaters and very loud colors and like corduroy pencil skirts and tights.
Oh, yeah. And all I have for shoes are like really intense boots.
Well, I have my boots.
Oh, good.
I did get my shoes on.
Good.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is a very different look for you then.
Yes. Well, I mean, I haven't worn something like this since my uni days, but thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
Okay.
to the library?
To the library.
Is Dewey still in his pajamas? Okay.
I mean,
He's
must
like
have, like
clothes.
He's a professor, though, so, like, that's not that weird.
I feel like I have some one night stands, at least like their shirt somewhere.
I think I'm good. I
Sure,
feel
I
like
would not. I might have washed it.
yeah, no, I don't know if I trust that you washed it, and with the guys you bring over, I think I'm good.
You haven't seen me in years. You don't know.
I can infer.
I bring home very classy gender.
That's not what this shirt says.
I mean, I think you have decent taste, seeing as you have the hots from my brother.
And you all head out onto the street if you're in pajamas or a very different style that you're used to, and you can hail a cab. And a cab pulls up. Don't worry, it's not the same person. And a man sort of tips his hat to you. Like, hello, where am I taking you?
To the public library.
I've stashed the whiskey back into my purse.
Boys.
He's like, fantastic. Hop in then.
No, excuse me, pardon me. Squeezing into the back.
Wait, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is how many, like, is this, what kind of cab is this? Does it have 2 back rows of seats? Does it have just 1 back row and one of us has to sit in the front?
It's a classic black cab. There are 3 seats in the back and 1 in the front.
Shotgun.
I am not sitting in the front. Oh, thank God.
Okay. So hang on. So who's just like? So is it now Jane and Meg fighting for the front seat?
Oh, are you
Gonna
sitting-
let her have it? I was thinking about it, but I'm gonna be gracious.
There's a
As you all sort of bundle into this cab, this looks like a much older gentleman. As you can see, these white tufts of hair sort of poke out from underneath his flat cap. He's got these big glasses on. He's just like, off we go then. And he sort of kicks into go, and he is silent the entire way. Every
That
now
sounds
and then,
perfect.
he sort of, you can see him bobbing his head as he sort of hums to himself, but it's barely audible as you drive through London. And that's where we're going to take our break real quick. So everyone get up, stretch, have a drink, whatever it is you need to do, and we'll be back in a minute. Oh, hi. Whilst everyone is in the cab to London, around London, on their way to London on a train is a youngish man, Jason, fairly sort of sun-kissed, fairly tan skin, that dark sort of Italian look to him, the dark hair, the in a white shirt, jumper, trousers, the very smart brogues and the long trench coat, definitely very much of this era. He likes his fashion, mainly because he is the head of a company. So he likes to show that he is. And he sat on a train from Bristol to London Waterloo. And he's sort of playing with the handle of his travel bag a little bit, this big leather sort of barrel bag, and looks slightly nervous. He sort of scratches the stubble on the end of his square jaw a little bit as he sort of watches all the passengers. He seems a bit on edge. And for a moment somewhere from it, he thinks he hears barking, which makes him slightly agitated. There are no dogs on this train. And then over the head speakers, he hears the song "We'll Meet Again," and looks up, a little bit confused. And there's a moment where he blinks, and he thinks there's someone in a long grey woolen coat at the other end of the carriage. He rubs his eyes. It's gone again. But that dog is still barking. The cab pulls up outside the library. There's some fairly elaborate, very grand steps that lead up to it. This very old building, this huge, huge building. And Fran, you know it well, as one of the main libraries in London. And the British Library, as you can see people pouring in and out of it. It's not super busy, but there seems to be a steady flow of people going in and out. The cabbie sort of takes the fare, gives you a wave, and disappears straight off into traffic again.
All right, what exactly were we going to look for again?
Who has a library card?
And I assume John does.
Yes, duh.
I feel like Fran's slightly insulted. Not that you forgot that she's a librarian, but the fact that you don't have a library card.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a library card. You never know when people are going to follow you in the dark in the underground, and you're going to need to figure out why.
And the answers will be in the library.
I'll apply for one today. My God.
Well, if you doubted the direction I was going in, you could have stayed home.
Damn.
You could have gone to the underground.
Yeah,
Only
that
if
place
you had
is-
gone with me, Dewey.
I'm married.
I meant to keep me safe. Good Lord.
You are having this conversation on the stage.
Of course we are.
A bust of school children that just look at us like the heck.
And I'm just going to march in.
Yep.
And I think what we want to do first is to look at the newspapers from the London Blitz and see if we recognize any people. Or
You walk into the front desk is the main thing. And I'm assuming as much as this isn't the library you work in, Fran, I'm assuming you come to this library a lot regardless. It's known for records, it's known for a lot of information collecting, so you probably, especially working for the university, would have connections. And you see a very little old lady with very large, what I call Coke bottle glasses that are very thick. Her eyes look slightly wider and larger through this glass. Those bits. And she sort of smiles and croons over. She sort of you can just about see her over this huge desk. Those little chains running from her glasses around her neck. A very sort of frilly collared top and a buttoned up right to the top cardigan. And she leans over, and you recognize her. You know this is Margaret Thompson. She has worked at this library for God knows how long. And she sort of leans over, peers over her glasses to reveal much smaller but very blue eyes. Say, "Oh, is that you, Fran?"
Hello, Margaret. It's wonderful to see you again.
Hello. Oh, and you bought Dewey. And she sort of like leans, stands up, and she still only comes up to about here on this desk and holds a hand over to shake Dewey's hand.
Dewey shakes it, and then he like goes in for the hug as well.
Yeah, she does like that little pat. Yes, okay. Right. So, and who are these people?
Oh, these are actually, believe it or not, some of Dewey and I's old school friends from when we were kids.
Yes, we once had friends.
Well, isn't that delightful? It's very good to hear.
This is
back and forth, Jane.
This is Dr. Jane Crowley.
Hello, good morning.
Nice to meet you. And sort of like holds her hand over.
And this is Meg.
Hello.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Hello.
Hello.
Is Margaret Thompson? And she smiles at you quite widely.
Charmed.
Oh, she sort of looks like quite happy with herself. So I'm afraid this is as loud as we can talk as we're in the reception. But if you go through those doors, I'm afraid we're going to have to ask you to hush down a little bit. If you would like to make your way through, find yourself a table, and I can always come over and help you see what you're looking for.
Oh yes, I've also apparently got to get a library card.
You don't have a library card?
I know.
No, Mrs. Thompson, she doesn't.
Oh goodness. Okay, let's get you.
Do you have a library card, Meg?
Yeah, do you have a library card?
Yes. I would like to see proof, please.
Well, you don't have it on me. We were kind of in a rush.
It's a library card.
It's okay, as long as one of you has a library card. I'm sure we can get. Of course, Fran. Yes, of course. And she sort of looks over to Jane. Don't worry, we'll get you on the system sooner rather than later. They've given me this strange computer device that I don't know what to do with, and it's this big, massive, like white box it's just got green like letters on it. Doesn't really do much.
I'm definitely not looking forward to the day that they upgraded the university for one of those either.
Oh,
Pen and paper works just fine for me.
I just sort of hit the buttons and hope for the best. Otherwise, I take notes in my book.
They tell me they're going to put the entire medical record on this thing, and that's just horrendous.
That's awful. Why would you trust computers with your lives?
Just horrible. Yes.
I don't know how you would ever find anything.
I
Look
stick
it
to
up.
libraries. Stick to libraries, and you'll be fine.
Well, actually, Miss Thompson, we are looking for newspaper records or local events, local news from the London Blitz.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a whole section on that. Third floor, up at the top, follow the spiral staircase all the way up, and you've got the whole section. Just wind the bookcases out, and you'll probably be in C34.
Thank you. I knew it would just be faster. See, who needs a computer when you've got a Mrs. Thompson?
All up here. She sort of like disappears behind this desk again for a bit.
No,
She's like,
no problem.
I'll have a look too and bring anything else that you can maybe useful.
Well, very DeSoto. Meg's like, well, we'll probably need it when she dies.
She doesn't hear you. She is deaf, like in one ear. Just smiling happily as she sips her tea.
I'll just follow you then, Fran.
All right, I'll lead the way. Sorry.
And you walk into this library when you've been into so many times before, and this ceiling is huge. It is domed. There are huge arch windows that line the entire ceiling, and there are balconies upon balconies circling the entire building. Books wall to ceiling, walls to the bottom of the windows. The light is mainly coming in, bless you, through those windows. It's everything is very everything is very decorative. Everything that you can see, this old white, almost like limestone carvings, and all of these carvings have very sort of natural element to them. You can see flowers, you can see fossils, you can see plants and different vines and shells and trees and things like that that sort of weave all up into the roof. And there are rows and rows and rows of tables. Each one has a very dark green lamp that is placed at the center of each that gives a soft yellow glow. And there are lots and lots of ladders and spiral staircases to go up either side.
So what did you say? C 34?
34.
Well, let's get started.
And Fran will lead the way, and you notice that there are moments where she starts getting distracted by something, and then she's like, nope, on a mission. But she, passes like a classical literature section and is like, nope. Is that a first note?
You can see some people sat at the tables, a lot of students, you see them doing some studying. Everything is completely silent. And you can head up the first set of spiral staircases, you can be on the first balcony, and you can see where there's almost like these huge, almost like ship, what they are, but the helms, where people turn them and the bookcases move to the side to reveal more, to open up the bookcases and spread them out. Fran, you've been in this library before. You know sort of which direction to head, and you see these bookcases. You can see them, you can open them easily, and it is full and full, not necessarily of books, but these big sort of files that store all of the newspapers according to the year and according to events. You can see an entire section on the London Blitz.
I'm just going to flip through them and try and see if I see one that from that specific day that everything happened to us, and also or one that's like the most like local, like the smallest like area newspaper. So looking specifically for smaller papers that might not necessarily be publishing like the big major like London wide stories, but ones that might be more local to the area that we grew up in.
Okay, so you can take all these files out. I don't know if you're piling them on top of anyone as you go through.
Dewey.
Yeah.
He's used to this.
So Fran is going through all of these, and what are Jane and Meg doing at this point? Because there's no fighting allowed in the library.
I think
First of all, that was flirting. You'd know if we were fighting.
Jane nudges Meg and says, "Look what I brought." Pulls out the whiskey bottle.
I was really worried we were just going to read all day.
And she does a very non-subtle, like grabs the bag like a brown paper bag and takes a swig and passes it over to Meg.
So have you two sort of like commandeered a table rather than gone up into the bookcases?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. We're like, oh yeah, we'll save us a seat right here.
God, I have such a good library use. I'll just use it when Fran brings everything down.
I think when they said that they were going to save a seat, Fran was like, "Oh, that's a really good idea. There's so many students that we might run out of space."
Yeah, you can find one of the tables in one of the far corners next to a sign that says "No food and drink" as you swig from the bottle. And there's some students around as you both sort of tuck yourself in the corner. And I actually think, because you've both drunk a lot of whiskey, can you both give me a constitution check, please?
No. I will use an advantage.
Me too.
Hey! Yay!
Hey,
We
you're
did
both
it.
pretty sober.
Oh yeah.
You're warm, but you're sober. And there's a moment where you hear a clang.
So far.
Where you hear a clang of Dewey's footsteps coming down the spiral staircase. And you don't really see Dewey, you see Dewey's arms and legs with this stack of just folders piled up high. And is Fran just like head in a book like behind him? Or
I think she also has another small stack of them. And she comes over to the table and plops them all down. It's just like, okay, everybody take a chunk.
Okay.
Jane takes one.
and you start
Hey,
moving them
Alice?
along. Yes.
Can I do a vibe check?
You want to do a vibe check? You're gonna feel the vibe in these
Yeah,
boxes?
vibes from the
Vibe it.
books.
Vibe
Yeah, I'd
it.
like to vibe
Roll
it.
to vibe.
Yeah. Vibe in.
Yeah, you are vibing. Is there anything specific you're looking for, or you're just looking to find something?
Yeah, anything that like sparks my interest without thinking. The thing is, like, usually she'd be all about this, but she's drinking and she's tired, so she's just like, shortcut.
You're sort of like running your hands over the top of these, almost like cardboard. It's got that marbling effect cardboard. Like it's a very sort of maroon and blue and green, dark blues and greens sort of colors. As you sit there, you know, like one head, like hand on your cheek, as you slide your hand across, you can see Dewey like going through papers, and Fran and Jane with her one box, and your hand sort of goes past something, and for that moment you pause and you go back, and as your hand hovers over this, you hear propellers, sort of the doof, 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 doof. You hear that whistle and you hear the air raid sirens, but this is a very specific order. And it just repeats.
Here, friend, try this one. And she's got that really tense look on her face.
And there is a high-pitched whine in your head at the moment, Meg. It's almost like it's a mixture of headache for two reasons. And it makes you want to squint, sort of slightly sort of shut your eyes tightly, as if a piercing headache just drifts in and out as you hear your father's voice, almost like in the distance, just calling your name, shouting, Meg, run, as it sort of fades out and that piercing headache goes.
Can I have another sip?
I hand over the bag, the purse.
Ha.
Just to describe this for you, it's like a normal purse with this zipper on the top, and like the top of the whiskey bottle just open in like one end. And it looks very strange that she's holding the purse like this and just bringing it to her mouth.
I make it look elegant.
Are you okay there, Meg?
Yeah, I have a headache.
Okay, I'm not surprised. Do you need some? I can get. Do you want some water? I'm sure there's a water.
No.
Okay. Hey, Fran. Looks like you need some help.
Fran, that one.
And Fran will pick up the box or the particular paper that Meg is pointing at.
And you find a set of newspapers. It's not just one. Talking about one of the first nights of the London Blitz by Wood Green, where many were injured this night and even more dead as buildings were flattened and the whistling bombs that came over London and took London by surprise. They weren't expecting it. And it does talk about, you find another local one about a young girl, Megan Hawkes, was struck along with many others that night. Luckily survived. Keep them in your prayers. And also the record of an aircraft coming down and crashing into London itself. A German craft.
Are there pictures on this one?
There are a few very black and white pictures. They're not necessarily super clear, especially at that time from the newspapers due to the printing. And this is more like you can see the tail of a wing rather than, it's not really identifiable, but there's a lot of rubble around it and it looks as if it's gone down and crashed through the ground.
Does it say the name of whoever's flying the craft?
It says nobody was found aboard and that the pilot must have ejected out.
Where did it crash?
It crashed in Wood Green, right by your underground station. There was so much devastation in that area. Buildings were flattened. Not a lot of houses came out okay.
Also, they got my name wrong. Who the fuck is Megan Hawkes?
I mean, at least they tried.
You know, the figure spoke German to me. Did he speak German to you?
He was wearing a German hat, wasn't he?
Something tells me that figure must have something to do with this craft, this German aircraft.
Alice, since I looked at him, can I see if Fran would now be able to put the pieces together and see if it was like a pilot's uniform or an Air Force uniform that he was wearing?
I would say,
like, if she would know that,
be able to tell it's definitely a pilot's uniform. It's the standard uniform, the heavy gray coat, the smart uniform, the gloves, the flying gloves.
Where do you think we would be able to find out more about this pilot?
I mean, have they cleared the wreckage?
I mean, at this point, you'd think that if there was anything left, it'd be in a museum.
And they said there was no body that they found.
Right,
yes,
we
I mean,
don't
I think
even have a name.
I think the best we could hope to find would be pieces of the plane.
Like a black box?
Do you think if we found the number of the plane, we could somehow find out the pilot's name?
I feel like they usually have records of this stuff, yeah.
I don't know if they'd have them here, though.
In Germany?
We can sneak into Germany.
No.
Germany.
On the picture, Alice, is there any like number or anything like that on the tail of the plane?
It is completely buried in this wreckage. You can see where it looks like part of the ground underneath has actually collapsed and given way to this aircraft.
Do we recognize any of the buildings around it? Like,
Yeah,
to pinpoint
absolutely.
more specifically, like, where it crashed?
You can look at some of the buildings. You definitely recognize a lot of housing area. You know it's not that far from the entrance where you were in the underground. It's a bit of a walk. It's like maybe 6 or 7 streets away. But you can definitely recognize some of the buildings. You can see a little corner shop that you would have been sent around to get milk in the morning. And it's not too far from the school.
I say we go to the area and look ourselves. I mean, it's been many years, but I'm sure there's still something in the area.
I second this idea.
And if we meet this bandaged fellow, I'll just hit him upside the head again with this whiskey bottle. I mean,
Yes,
I don't
you
have a
all have
whiskey
to
bottle
protect me.
in the library, of course not.
Oh, and I'll like put my hands over Fran's ears and make sure it's okay.
Dewey, sweetheart, do you know anyone at the museum that would be an expert in this area of history, or anyone at the university? You are a history professor. Anyone who specializes in World War whatnots?
You break my heart, but Alice.
You know there is a professor there that you work with. You normally have coffee on your break with him. He is a very stuffy professor called Marcus West. And
I don't like him.
he knows a lot. He mainly sits in his tiny little office writing over and over, like, just all of his papers. He doesn't tend to leave, and you know he always stays late. He stays behind. He is an older gentleman. He lived through the war.
Yes, Fran, I do know somebody. His office is smaller than mine. I mean, he's likely there if we wanted to go talk to him. But, you know, that old fella, Marcus East.
So I think that sounds better than going traipsing about the underground.
Yeah, probably. I think that he would know a lot more, especially, I want to avoid the costs.
You know, we'll have to
he's
return
just-
eventually.
We'll cross
I
that
don't know about
train when
that.
we get to it. But he's not the most likable fella. So just I'm sure you can seduce him, but
Excuse me?
I saw those shirts in there. He wears a similar type of shirt.
She walks away.
And
Dewey, we've talked about not speaking what you're thinking all the time.
listen, if he's not seduced by Meg, we also have some liquid truth serum. You hear my purse slosh around.
Fran gives you a disapproving look for drinking in the library, but she's not going to say anything given the situation.
This is not typical for Jane at all.
As you walk away,
Oh no.
you almost not bump into, But you see this very little old lady, sort of a little bit hunched, sort of shuffling along. She's got these long tights on, and as you see Margaret Thompson, she's like, "Did you find everything you need, dear?"
Yes, thank you so much.
And she smiles back at you for
Keeps walking.
a few long minutes and watches you go, face unmoving.
Oh, and could I get that library card? As I very subtly cork the bottle and zip up my purse.
And she looks over to you again, that big smile on her face. Eyes wide. Yes, of course. As she starts to move away. Could all of you make, or actually no, anyone who would be watching her go, a spot hidden check, please.
I think Fran would be picking up the papers and putting them on the cart for reshelving.
I think I would, since I'm probably watching hers to get my library card and making sure that she's not looking back at my purse. I'm gonna use an advantage here because my spot hidden is very horrible.
Is anyone else looking or not?
No, Dewey's hiding his head in shame.
Can I look, or are they watching me go?
No, they turned to look at Jane as Jane started talking.
So can I roll? What am I?
You can.
All right, I'll look over my shoulder. What do I see?
Jane, you
sounds.
Sort of, he sounds.
So many colors.
Jane, you watch this little old lady sort of shuffle away. And particularly you, Meg, as she reaches one of the bookcases to lead out the main back to the reception, you see her arms and legs move slightly, and she starts to move in a very disjointed way, almost like she doesn't have full control of her arms and legs. This hunch as she sort of moves in between the bookcases.
Time to go.
Just see that.
Come on. Time to go.
You're probably gonna have to drag Jane away. She's like staring open-mouthed.
I will say, you see very few people. You've been in here a couple of hours going through everything.
Yeah, I'll walk back in there and grab Jane.
Yeah.
Like by the elbow, like, we're going.
And on that extreme, Meg, as you sort of grab Jane to pull her away, you see down the side of this bookcase, this little old lady tip her head, her shoulders very hunched up. And she holds a card in her hand as she starts to make her way, almost very broken limb, towards you.
I'll get my library card next time, thanks!
Janie, turn around.
What are Fran and Dewey doing? Because they haven't seen this.
Putting the I feel like they were putting all of the newspaper boxes like away to be resorted, and they turn around and both Jane and Meg are just like running off. And
yeah.
they're just like, what the?
I'm full on sprinting at this point.
I don't
As
even
you
know where
see
we're
them
going.
both run, and you sort of turn to look back. This little old lady, Margaret Thompson, who you know so well, is right in front of you. Find everything you need, Fran. And she just blinks twice, that big smile on her face. It stretches maybe a little bit larger than it should.
Yes, actually, I think we found everything that we were looking for. Do you have a bit of a twinge or a cold?
As you say that, her head twinges slightly. Find everything you need, Fran.
Yeah. Dewey, I think we should head out now.
What? Oh, okay. Bye, Mrs. Thompson. It was really nice to see you again.
And can you both roll me a sanity check, please?
Oh, okay. I guess you don't need to.
You both watch her as she sort of ticks, like her head from side to side, like a twitch, but it's not quite a natural twitch. That big smile still on her face, and you watch it spread higher.
Nope. Fran. Dewey's grip on Fran's hand, because obviously he's holding her hand. Just like it's a death grip now.
Somewhere else in this library, you hear a gurgle.
No, we don't. We're leaving. No, we don't. Nope, Alice, we do not hear this.
You hear papers shuffle, and almost as if bookcases are slightly being nudged when something brushes up against a wooden surface. And Margaret Thompson's eyes get wider and wider. You open the box, and now he wakes up.
Well, we're backing up. I'm sorry. What was that?
Read your books. And she
Yes.
sort of turns, and you see her moving in this very bizarre way back towards the bookcases. These bookcases are high. Very, very high. But as you look at the top of them, you see the top of someone's head moving along the back. And you hear very heavy footsteps. And you hear Margaret muttering to herself, "It's all coming around, it's all waking up, read the book, see it drown."
No.
We're gonna run away now.
Yeah, also, Alice, I don't want to do this, but can I make another sanity check?
Yes.
I mean, because this is somebody
Dewey is getting
doing, like,
stressed.
yes. Oh, okay, I'm fine.
You manage to catch your breath and take control of it as you see the top of this head start to emerge around the side of the bookcase. And these bookcases are around 9-10 feet high. This person is just a little bit taller. It is not.
Gosh.
Are you running, or is Shaq gonna get you?
I think we're running.
I
I think Dewey is running, and Fran has been dragged along for the ride.
I'm gonna need my inhaler soon.
You are dragged from this library as you leave. I'm going to say Jane and Meg, you're already out. You're by the steps. As you see
Furiously.
Dewey and Fran come speeding out, and you see Margaret shift forwards. The doors are closed, and she just presses a hand to the glass.
I'm giving her a jog on. It is impolite.
Screw you, Margaret.
Fran leaves, and she's like,
Fuck you, that's my name.
"Is nothing sacred anymore? Even the library?"
Hello, Rangers.
We were not drinking whiskey in the library. We're very
Kids, don't
classy,
drink and read.
especially in Cthulhu.
Especially in Cthulhu.
All right.
Moral
What
of
are
the
we
story: don't drink
Oh.
it. Nothing bad would have happened if you guys
Don't
didn't
drink
drink
in
in
the
the
library.
library.
We're going to the university to talk to Marcus West.
What? What?
Yeah, Fran, it's
We're going to the university to talk to Marcus West.
But if Marcus West starts doing this limb
Then
thing,
we kick the shit out of him.
yes.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Did you guys see the big guy?
No,
No?
Yes.
What big guy?
we left
He's
when
like
she
10 and a half
started doing-
feet tall.
He was hiding
Yeah,
behind
thanks
the
for that, by the
bookshelves.
way. You just like left us. We weren't even paying attention.
That's
Yes,
your
well-
own goddamn fault.
Margaret
I
was
see how
coming
this
at us. She had a
relationship is going.
library card. I don't want any more library cards. No more library cards.
No, the library is a terrible place.
You heard it here first, kids.
All right, you were
Just
saying.
because you have one bad library experience doesn't mean that
I'm catching us a cab.
I will say that this is the sort of time that you know Jason may be pulling in
I
to
think
the London station.
we should go to the station and meet Jason and pick him up, and we can all go talk to Professor West today together.
As
and
long as you don't
compare
have to
notes.
Take the tube.
Also, apparently, we're not supposed to be opening boxes or reading books. I don't remember. I got freaked
I'm
out.
sorry?
Mrs. Thompson, while you guys had abandoned us, feels familiar.
Just paying slightly more attention, as usual.
What did Mrs. Thompson say?
She said something about the fact that we opened the box and he woke up or something. I
Let him out. I thought it was. Maybe we woke him up. And something about read your books. And then there was something else, but I was too scared to write it down.
That's fine.
I didn't open any boxes. Did you open any boxes?
Did anybody open any boxes?
I believe the box there. It's probably the.
I mean, the newspapers were in boxes.
Oh.
No, that certainly doesn't count.
You're like, wait here, Cthulhu, this does not count.
Yeah, wait a fucking second, Alice. That doesn't count.
But if it was those boxes that we opened up that
That's
woke up something,
ridiculous.
that doesn't make it. Then it's a different something than the something that has been chasing us, and the something that was possessing
Dad,
Pyram
don't you read stories?
constantly.
It wasn't a newspaper box. That would be ridiculous.
Well, it may be something new. Whatever was with me was certainly not 10 and a half feet tall.
Dewey,
No.
can you make a spot hidden check for me, please?
Oh shit. Okay.
I mean,
Shit.
maybe it's more of a
we
metaphorical
know?
box.
Oh no.
You don't see it.
What doesn't he see?
Yeah, right. What don't I see?
Tell us.
You don't
Yeah.
see what's following you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We get a cab. We're going
The station.
To the
Yeah, I feel like
station.
Dewey's like, he's very much like, I am not looking at anything. Just
You-
like he was the
Blinkers.
first time. Yeah, like,
On the way to the cab, I passed Dewey the whiskey purse.
oh, I drink more than I've ever drank at one time.
This is quite like, do we normally drink, or is this quite like a stinging sensation? for
Oh,
Dewey?
Dewey does not drink very often.
Then Constitution save, please.
I will use an advantage. Oh, I keep forgetting to mark them off. I think that's the third one I've used. Constitution. Oh, the one that says con.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank
You
goodness.
swig it. If anything, it makes you sort of do that, like when you've sucked on a lemon or something. But it gives you a kick. If anything, it wakes you up more. The
good.
The taxi pulls up. It actually happens to be the same taxi driver because he's doing the same patrols of the area. And he goes, "Oh," he sort of looks at his watch. "You've been in there a while."
It's the old man, right? Not the other
Yeah,
one.
not the weird one.
Great.
We're going to the station. And I'm gonna pretend like I know which one.
Okay. Fran will probably know that he comes into Waterloo, one of the main stations, and the taxi takes you there. You can see the huge steps in the big old building that come up. You see pigeons everywhere, just sort of mooching about within the station. This huge glass ceiling, a giant four-faced clock hangs from the ceiling, and you wait. And there's people going in and out, and it's a bit of a rush. It's busy. It's one of the main stations in and out of London. You can see the route to the underground from within here. The floor is a very polished stone, and when I say there's pigeons everywhere, they're sort of nesting up in the rafters, but they're also walking around on the floor. You can smell food stalls that stuff are being cooked up. You can see a lot of business men and women marching backwards and forwards. There is no time for dawdling or stopping. You see what looks to be like a gaggle of school children being directed by a teacher who is panicking as they look around very excitedly. And Fran, you probably spot him first. Jason, still looking very, very smart. He's in that coat, and he sort of looks around and he's like, Fran! And he sort of like trots over to you. See him almost like trip over a pigeon on the way through as he throws his arms around you. And he's like, oh, it's so good to see you. There's been so much weird stuff happening. How are you?
I may not go back to the library.
Oh my god. Like, and he literally like looks at you, he rests like
She's
a
like
hand.
crying.
He rests like a hand on your cheek. He's like, it's okay. Like, he sort of almost pulls you into like this beige trench coat that is tied round at the waist. And then he sort of looks back and he's like, hey Dewey, and sort of holds out a hand to shake it. And
I shake your back.
He sort of gives you a big smile, and he looks over towards Meg and Jane. He goes, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and he sort of is like, "Can I hug you both? Like, this has been so long."
Yeah, sure. And
Yeah.
Jane kind of does one of those like awkward one-arm hugs.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is awkward." Like, he sort of does like that pat on the back, realizing how awkward it is, and he's like, "Meg, it's been forever."
Yeah, she's been looking very cool with her cigarette, like leaning up against like a rail or something, and she'll get up.
Yeah, you sort of see him like look everyone up and looks at me. He's like, "You look great."
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. And he sort of like straightens out his coat. You can see him swing the leather sort of travel bag over his shoulder, and he's sort of like, I need a drink.
Oh, very good. Here you go.
Here you go.
He's sort
There's
of
like this much left in the bottle at this point.
Yeah, he sort of literally takes it out of the bag and he's like,
Put
no,
it back inside. It's good whiskey, I promise.
I want a drink. Where's the closest pub?
Probably just outside. I mean,
Across the street.
yeah, we could walk like 10 feet in any direction and find a pub.
So true. Literally the one opposite.
Wild generalizations about England.
Even Scrat, that's the truth.
Hey, I've been there twice. I
And he's like, great, okay, like, let's head there then. Oh, come on, sis, perk up. And he sort of like puts an arm around your shoulders, almost gives you a bit of a squeeze. He's like,
what if it's a metaphorical box?
a what?
Oh, never mind.
Listen,
I think
Jason, if
Dewey's-
you've opened any boxes, we're going to be furious. Just know.
Boxes? No, I don't think so. And that, you can see him sort of pondering. He's like, I mean, I've got like a box I keep some of my spare change in. Does that count?
No,
Yes.
and neither does the newspaper box, Dewey.
Okay, I definitely need a drink. And he starts to walk, like he sort of keeps his arm around Fran, but starts walking out of the station.
I will lead and give him a good view.
You can mince your way down those steps in the best way possible, straight into the pub across the street, called the Old Bell, and it's not actually that busy a pub. If anything, you can smell the food. It's lunchtime. You can smell the food. You can smell like a proper roast dinner. You can smell the gravy. You can smell pie. You can smell roast meat, vegetables, Yorkshire puddings, you name it. You can smell it. And he sort of visibly relaxes as he steps in. He's like, "Oh, London." And he sort of takes off his coat and puts it on the back of one of the chairs, and he's like, "What does everyone want?"
A pint, honestly, whatever they have.
1 alcohols.
Dewey, we've been over this. He's like, he sort of looks at you, he's like, what? I'll just get you a pint. And as he looks over at he's like, "Fran." Are you okay? Something strong?
Yeah.
I think she needs some food.
Yes.
I was going to suggest
Pie.
food.
Mash. Peas.
Right. Yeah. No, we'll do that. Meg, what can I get you?
Surprise me.
Right. He sort of smiles a little bit.
She likes martinis, lots of olives.
He sort of smiles. Yeah. And sort of wanders over towards the bar, and you can see him leaning over the bar. He's just in his he's just he sort of stands there rolling his sleeves to his white shirt up as he sort of leans over the bar, and picks up an ashtray as well, after seeing Meg smoking earlier. And he comes back over with a tray of drinks, and he's like, pipe for you, the strongest thing they've got. I set it, like, pushes it towards Fran, and he's like, martini, extra olives, plus a bowl of olives. Yeah. Okay.
Good boy.
And he looks at you a moment as he sort of settles down. He's like, I just ordered pie for everyone. I mean, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird having you all here together again. Dewey, are you in your pajamas?
Yes.
I forgot.
Right. If anything, it looks like this is a normal thing for him. And there's a moment where he looks at Fran and looks at what Fran's wearing. He's like, "I like this new look, Fran."
It's Meg's.
She's hot.
It's Meg's. What? Why are you in Meg's clothes?
We kind of dashed out of the flat late at night to visit Meg, and it was this or my nightgown.
So fast you couldn't take off your pajamas and get... What?
Children were coming out of the telly. They were in our apartment.
And
then Mrs. Thompson started cracking and saying strange things, and with a big smile on her face, and there was a scary 10-foot tall man in the library who followed us out, and we're not supposed to be opening boxes, and we're supposed to be reading books. And I found this.
We'll talk over lunch. And I wave over.
Like, as he sort of looks over, he's like, I've been hearing weird stuff. And I've seen one weird thing, but it's probably just me putting stuff together, not, you know, anything else. I keep hearing a dog bark. Like Rex.
But don't you have a dog?
Yeah. Rex.
It's your dog barking?
Oh, Rex died long ago.
No, I mean your current dog.
It's not him barking. I normally leave him at home or in the factory, and his bark is much deeper. He's a big dog. And Dewey and Fran, you'll know that he has an Alsatian called Boise, which normally follows him around a lot of the time, but I don't know. And then I was walking home one night and I heard marching. Do you remember like when they used to patrol through the city afterwards?
We heard that too. Last night. Goodness, was that only last night?
I don't know what it is. And then this is where I'm probably, like overreacting because it doesn't make sense. Dewey, the football we lost that night in the Blitz, it rolled across my path. It was in my factory. It still has our initials on it. It's still got all those patches almost in exactly the same place. Like with the plasters on and everything.
Did you like touch it?
No, I didn't touch it.
Wimp.
Like, and it almost like it reverts back for a moment. It's just like he drinks a little bit more of his pint probably than needed.
Do you remember this picture? And and Jane will take out the picture from her pocket.
Sort of is like, oh my gosh. Look at us. Like, you were tiny. Especially you, Meg. Like, he sort of looks down and she was like the smallest there, and he's like, Dewey, you were always so grubby. As he sort of looks, and Dewey's like covered in oil and dirt. Even at school.
This thing handed it to me, not a man, I suppose. Someone in this gray coat.
German.
Pilot.
Wait, when did you meet a German pilot?
Well, in hospital. I mean, not in hospital, but I was in the tube, then I was all of a sudden in at work in the hospital, and there's this bandaged German pilot, and he started to do strange things and chased me, and then I hit him in the face, and then he gave me this picture.
What, did you call the police?
No, I didn't have anything on me. It was very strange. It was like I was on the underground, and all of a sudden I was at work. It was like a time shift or something.
Sounds like a dissociative episode.
Possibly, yes.
So, what do you do now, Meg?
I'm a psychiatrist.
Oh, wow. I bet that's interesting.
Yeah, and you run a factory, right?
Yeah, I run an automotive factory.
In Bristol.
The Bristol port one. It's not just motor cars. I also do heavy ship liners. It's just something I started. It took off more than expected. Had to buy.
He's very accomplished, very rich.
Yes.
Was that an in character eyebrow wiggle?
Oh, absolutely, it was.
he sort of gives you a side eye, not really knowing what you're talking about, and almost awkwardly rolls his sleeves up a little bit further. He's like,
I think I'm going to kick Dewey.
Under the table that
with my stiletto.
I don't think you need to roll for that. You may kick Dewey.
You don't want me to roll, it'll hurt if I roll.
Yes, and can you imagine if you killed him? We don't have much else.
Just crits it.
How Dewey died.
Poor Fran.
In the shin.
All the men in my life are a little bit dickish.
And Jason is like, again, he's like, I mean, I can show you around sometime. Like, Fran has never really looked around at the factory fully. And Dewey.
I mean, you know me. I'm more interested in the cars than the making of the cars.
But yeah, no, that's fine. I'm more the make the cars and yeah. How do you drive, Fran?
Yes.
Just checking.
Yes.
And you see a little bit of a worry cross over his face.
I wasn't going to let all those lessons from Dad go to waste and never drive anywhere.
I prefer, or I used to prefer, train. I do have cars. Just, Yeah. And there's an awkward silence for a moment, and when all of this food sort of starts coming to the table, being pushed underneath your noses, this sort of thick crust pie with this gravy, piled up mashed potato and greens, all sort of piled up on this plate. And he's like, thanks, and starts to dig in. And before he does, he lifts up his glass. He's like, cheers to old friends.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, this is bloody awkward, as he sort of like tucks into his pie.
So we went to the library because
Why am I not shocked, Fran?
When one is faced with problems, knowledge tends to help.
Did it help?
Yes.
But I didn't get a library card.
You don't have a library card?
No. Why would I need to go to the library? Everything I have is in the medical school.
No, I just.
You know, Meg has a library card.
He's like, okay, Dewey. Almost like, again, it's the weird look of why you're being weird, Dewey. You recognize almost that 10-year-old, that 11-year-old Jason looking at you a bit like.
10-year-old Meg's plotting her revenge.
Yeah.
And we I know it sounds crazy, but 3/4 of the things that come out of my mouth usually do. But we found that there was a German plane that crashed near school, where we grew up, and a German plane being followed around by a German creature, specter.
Like, did you talk to it?
It didn't talk. It just made this air siren sound.
I definitely don't think it's some kind of illusion. It was solid.
I mean, you still have its glove back in your flat.
And I could hit it with a hammer.
But it wasn't very effective.
No, it wasn't. It just put its jaw right back.
I see it.
But
what?
So
The glove.
It's at my flat. We could pop over there real quick. Just so nearby.
Okay. Maybe we finish this up and then.
Yeah.
I need
we
to
still
dump my
have
bag
to-
somewhere anyway, so.
We still have to go to the university. We have to meet with this Marcus West. He's apparently a World War II expert.
Didn't you tell me about this guy, Dewey?
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Meg has ammunition.
I have been trying to help you, Meg.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
This is Sammy trying to help, not Dewey.
So,
Best wingman quotes. Meg's got a library card.
Got a library card.
to be fair, I would use that in real life.
I know you would.
I feel like West was like the department chair for a while and like made some hiring decisions that Dewey did not agree with or something.
The guy in my office next to me is so loud.
Okay, so right, if I can drop my bag off at yours, have a look at this. Maybe we should take the glove with us. Maybe he'll know something about that.
Possibly. I mean, as much of an asshole as he is, he's really smart.
Oh, I didn't think to check. There might just be a name inside the goddamn glove.
Like his mom stitched in his underpants?
You imagine that, the high, level, German officer that just stitches Fritz in, the inside.
Why not? Otherwise you just get it confused with everyone else's black mother gloves.
Yep.
I think they do encourage you to write your name in the military.
Alice.
No, stitched it in is something very different.
I didn't say stitched it in. You said stitched it in.
That's true. That was...
Look, I had the little label with my name on, with a little teddy bear on all of my school uniforms stitched in. Okay, it's a British thing.
Now I'm just picturing this guy's mother stitching into his military uniforms, and he seems less scary.
Is the photograph still out on the table?
Yeah, I didn't take it back.
Can I look at the photograph, Alice?
You can. What are you looking for?
You're so loud. Is there somebody here that shouldn't be here in this picture?
Roll a spot hidden check, please.
I will use advantage.
Huzzah!
I'll still use advantage.
Oh,
I can see all the things. I don't even need my glasses.
You look closely at this picture. You see all your teachers for the year. You see all of the students. There are some that aren't there, which you think almost should be there, but then you remember the year that this happened, and quite a few students were lost during the Blitz. And it's almost like when you have a double exposure image. It's barely visible. There's not really any full details, but it's almost like a face.
Why did I look?
Two faces. One seems to hover particularly around Meg, and one hovers particularly around you.
Why me? Oh no.
The one thing I will say on an extreme, the one closer to you is very feminine.
I don't know what you're saying.
It's the lady with the heels. The scary lady in the underground.
Oh.
There it goes.
We got there. It is his mom. She's trying to deliver a new round of freshly stitched in underpants.
I'm gonna turn the. I don't know who's sitting next to me, so I'm just gonna be like, you guys, I don't know if I'm just very drunk, but
Yes.
Do you see this? Just look at Meg and just look at me. Do you see the people around them? Us?
Do we?
Do we see the people?
When it's
Oh, I
pointed
didn't see
out,
my name.
you can see it.
There's this lady next to you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Mrs. Thompson.
I hope not.
Can we make out any details about them?
I will allow you to roll a clairvoyance check if you want to
Oh,
do
good.
that.
I love
Otherwise, it's
Mom.
almost like a double image. Not really.
Yeah, I'll use an advantage.
Ooh.
Hard success.
You sort of move your hand just over it. You don't have to touch it, but you might. In particular, the female voice you hear chanting over and over again, and in your head there is a flash of a face behind a veil. Just for a split second, down in what looks like this pitch blackness, this grey-white veil, almost like a wedding veil. You can see detailed lace all the way around the bottom. And these very hollow, sunken-in eyes and cheeks. And there's a moment as you see this face walking up and down this tunnel. And the bizarre thing for this, Meg, is she stops and turns and makes full eye contact with you, like she can see you as much as you can see her.
I'm very still.
As you both stare at each other, the rest of you just see Meg sort of just frozen, I suppose. And this veiled woman walks closer and closer and closer until she's inches from your face, as she's sort of looking like she's checking if you can see her. Do you know where my boy is?
Sorry?
You can hear me. I think we broke through. And it goes black again, and you're sort of sat. You feel like you're gasping, actually, almost as if you've been holding your breath for all that time, as a trickle of blood, for the first time in a while, runs down your nose. And Jason looks at you, he's like, your nose is bleeding, and he hands you a handkerchief.
Do you recognize her?
Me?
Yeah, you, Dewey.
No, I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
No, Sammy!
I'll never talk to you again. It's okay. I'll just sleep tonight.
I'm sorry. Yes, you, Dewey. Yes. You.
No. I'd be scared if he didn't react like that.
Dewey, I will allow you to roll a history check if you want to identify any of the barely visible details.
She's looking for her boy.
Can I use advantage?
You may.
Oh, thank goodness.
How do you know that, Meg?
Good.
Memory. Oh, extreme.
On an extreme success, you sort of focus in on this picture, you pull it closer and look, and more than anything, you can see a veil and the top of a dress, a strange detailing. And to you, being a history teacher, the design is it's recognizable. This shouldn't be in this picture, not just because it's another face, but so it can't be. It's not just a double exposure. This person is wearing Victorian clothing.
Okay.
And you look closer at the picture and you see her hand rests on your shoulder.
No, it doesn't. Oh. Okay. and what did you ask me?
If you recognized her.
Right. Yes. Oh, wait. This is the same. Is this the same person I saw in the tunnel? Okay.
That's how you saw
I just
the
wanna-
underground.
Yeah. I just didn't want to. I wanted to make. Okay. Yep. I'm good. Yeah. That night in the underground, in the tunnel. When we went and the dog was barking and the night of the right, yeah, she when we ran down and the dog was barking into the darkness, and this is the woman, yeah, and she's here and she's wearing a Victorian dress, which people don't wear right now usually.
You saw her the night of the Blitz.
That's not
Yeah.
what I saw.
What did you see?
I saw my father.
That's not what I saw. I saw her. Is that your father in the picture next to you?
I think I would know if that was my father.
Who is
No.
this man? That is your
Has identical facial features to Meg.
No, it's definitely not.
Why are there random Victorian people? Well, the Victorian woman. I don't like this.
Maybe maybe they're ghosts. I mean, why not?
Well, you said she was looking for her son. Did you ask her what her son's name was?
No! No, I said I remembered her looking for her son. I didn't talk to her just now, Dewey.
But you said that you saw something different than what Dewey saw that night.
Yeah,
Did
well,
she
maybe I
sound
saw. Maybe
German?
Dewey told me about it back then.
I don't. Fran, did I tell you about this ever?
Oh no, did you tell me?
Actually, I probably would have. But I probably would have forgotten that I told you.
Wow, that's real life.
Yes, no, I'm sure that was it. Dewey told me back then.
I don't think so.
Well, how good's your
But
memory?
probably. Whatever.
This group is so aggressive to each other.
Listen, Meg's a bully. Leave her alone. She's
And
had a hard time.
you hear that scraping as Jason is scooping up the last of his peas and sort of like puts a napkin to his mouth. He's like, look, we better get going. It's 10 to 2. Can we get moving?
What'd you say?
What'd you say?
It's 10 to 2. And he
No,
sort of
it's
points.
not. You got in at like 3.
No wonder I was hungry. This damn thing keeps stopping. And he sort of takes it off and starts winding it.
I look
eggs.
down at my watch too to see what time it is.
It's the normal time. Everyone else, if you check your watches, it is the normal time. You can just see Jason winding his rounding, and he's like, do you know what? I keep changing the battery. I'm gonna have to take this back.
Here, Jason, why don't we switch watches? I'm sorry, mine isn't as fancy as yours, but
Nikki,
I remember from all.
I mean, so you can have the correct time. Fran has her watch.
Yeah, okay. And he sort of holds out his watch. Maybe you can get it working.
Yeah, I mean, cars, watches, they're like the same thing, right?
Right. He's sort of. He's like, right, come on.
Do I remember from the reading if anything in the library newspapers happened at 10 to 2?
Roll me a history check.
Use advantage.
can never find anything on this sheet, which is sad because it's in alphabetical order.
Hey.
Didn't need it, but I
You
was going to use
remember,
it. So
scanning, and at 10 to 2 was when the wreckage was excavated.
excavated.
When people went down to see if they could find the body.
I will share that with everyone.
Oh, the box. What if it's the black box? You like that sound, Sammy? It was good, huh?
And as
I still think it's a metaphorical box.
as Fran shares that, you hear Jason tap this new watch and go, "Oh," as Meg, somewhere at the back of your head, you hear that memory of your father screaming your name, that flash of white tiles, and fire. And that is where we'll leave Call of Cthulhu this week until next week. So, thank you very much. Everyone, please check out the links that are coming up in chat now. That includes the Discord. There is a channel just for this game. If you want to go scream into the abyss or share your theories, we would love to hear them. Otherwise, if you've missed out on any of the shows at all, you can head over to our YouTube and find the playlist for all of them. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Hero Forge. You would have seen their little models during the break and in the startup load-up screen. It's great fun to make all your characters, and they go into so much detail over there, so please go check it out. Also, Mage Hand Press, they've just released Dark Matter in hardback. It's a great book. It's been 2 years in the making. It looks fab. I've seen every single version of it, and I love it. So much so I have 2 copies. Also, the Deck of Many, who created the Deck of Many Things with the moving spell cards, and also Humblewood, which is probably one of the most wholesome books you will ever look in and read. Otherwise, keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.